Good evening and welcome to the Council of Crowns meeting for May 13th, 2018. The board of directors meeting for tonight is canceled due to there's nothing on the agenda. So we're going to roll right into our COC meeting. See, present we have myself as King, Astro Winds is here, Ravenstone, Lupin Moon, Frozen Coast. The Kingdom Regent is here. I don't see the Kingdom Champion yet, nor the Kingdom Prime Minister. The Kingdom GMR is here. So let's start with Kingdom Officer reports. If the other officers show up, we can circle back around to it. But we'll start off with the Kingdom Regent report. Minibard.
Hey everyone. So we're in the height of mid-rain season, obviously, and those are happening. The next one we've got coming up, I believe, is actually Ravenstone on the 20th. So that'll be great. It was brought to my attention by Blue that we need to get the announcements made for Crown Quals. So we're gonna. It's something I'll probably, at the very least, make sure we're coordinating. Other than that, the next Council of Regents meeting is going to be this coming Tuesday. It'll be live streamed as usual, and we'll publish the, links for it and stuff like that here shortly. And by here shortly, I'm sorry, I mean like immediately or like on the day of. I don't know.
Okay. Everybody's mid-range going okay so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think people have, all of them have gone off more or less without a hitch. It's been a good set of mid-range. The Regents have done a really, really great job.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for the Kingdom Regent? Okay. Guildmaster Reeves, you are next on the list.
Good evening, everybody. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. We've been maintaining, going over questing coming up. We have had a couple clarifications that needed to have been done, but what it's looking like is questing is starting to roll out, and we're going to be looking into a very smooth transition into the outdoor games. Our mid-rain for Lupin Moon went, or I should say the Lupin Moon mid-rain went well. I assisted our Kingdom Champion and the officers of Lupin Moon to do the reaving for that tournament, and it went great. And we had a really good presence out there, had 3 Kingdom officers, which was great to see. And Garrett and I have been talking about trying to get him back up again for the Ravenstone mid-rain as well, to try to keep a Kingdom officer presence in their mid-rains. Other than that, though, everything has been pretty quiet and clean cut for the GMR side of things. We're just carrying forth with the magic items and ensuring that they're fair and divvied out properly.
Okay. Is the magic item awarding going okay?
Yes, we had a couple questions about the lightsaber duel that we just had, about how we're going to award it. Garrett, our Kingdom Champion, left me with that tasking because he was a previous lightsaber winner of a duel or a tournament, and I conferred with my council, and we came up with a good solution and a good magic item to award. So our process is working if we're making forward progress and getting these items out to people.
Okay. Let's see. Are we all geared up for the next round of reef testing, which everybody will be doing next month?
Absolutely. I went through and checked on the test questions. I went and ratified a good amount of them, and I'll continue going through and ratifying as per the rules of play. Also, the GMRs are doing the same. They're looking through and getting small little test chunks of questions and making sure that they match. I like having the GMRs involved in that process because it is a council project, and they are doing an excellent job with that.
Okay, please make sure that everybody is up to speed and prepared to utilize that online retesting process.
Absolutely, that is a point in all of our meetings of utilizing the online Reeves testing.
Okay. Anybody on the council have any questions for the Guildmaster of Reeves?
I'm not on the council. I don't really have a question, but I did want to give some finger guns to Richter because we did some questing with Galactic Conquest yesterday in Astral Winds, and it was super fun, and there was lots of crazy stuff going on. But there were definitely some questions, and Richter was like Johnny on the spot with like clarifications and stuff, even super late at night, and was like really positive and helpful with it. So that was really, really great. I just wanted to say it was good stuff, and I liked it.
Awesome. Thank you. Good job, everybody.
Thank you, Minnie. I appreciate those words.
All right. Anybody else got anything for the GMR? All right, Richter, thank you very much. Let's move down to the Guildmaster of Engineers.
Still trying to get swords crafted. Abram agreed to let us use his garage, so we got a lot of extra room. We're going to try to get one really good push in to get all the swords crafted, and that's about all I got. And I'm trying to set up more dates. I've got material at my house that I'm working on, and that's about all I got.
Okay, so where are we at progress-wise?
We got a lot of caps to make, and covers are getting made, and I don't know. I need to go through and do a collection on all the covers and materials and whatnot, so we know what we're looking at specifically. But we've got about 160 boffers cut, ready for caps and covers, and more on the way. So.
I've run equipment all my life, and I tell you what, it's a fun job.
Okay, do you guys need help cutting out caps?
Yeah. Pockets cut out, about 900 of them, so we are going to need more, but what we need is help is just getting these things assembled. Last Saturday after mid-rain, it was just me and Richter working on this stuff, and extra hands are always helpful, but you know, can't make people do what they don't want to do, right?
Okay. Can you post in the at least in the COC group, what your construction dates and locations are for the next 2 weeks? Is that something you can get to us tonight?
4 years.
I'll try to. I'm not at home. I'm out doing Mother's Day stuff right now, and
okay. Well, as soon as possible, then, so that we can try to help coordinate getting some people there. We'll need that information in order to help you out.
That would be great. Thank you.
Catch over there.
All right. Anybody have anything for the Guildmaster of Engineers? All right, moving on. The June All Thing. Does anybody on the council have anything for the All Thing? Let's see. I currently don't have any topics for the All Thing. Minibar, do you have the date for that off the top of your head? I'm pulling it up here if you.
I do. I do have one thing that I would like as far as the admin manual amendment that I was proposing, but I'd still like to have some more inter-council discussion on that before sending it to the all thing, just so that I can get, or we could get the ideas a little more flushed out so that I know exactly what it is we want to ask them for.
Let's see. We don't actually have that on the calendar. Josh, is there a reason we don't have
I
that?
was just looking at the calendar and I was like, it's weird. It's not on there. Nope, there's no good reason. Just
okay,
that,
and that's fine.
apparently
Maybe
on there. So.
Let's go ahead and schedule that then. Let's see. What do we got going on here? We got three Barons, newbie barbecue. When is the 23rd, right? Is the start for the camp out down in Frozen Coast? Or 22nd? It's not on the calendar either.
It's 22nd to the 24th. Yeah, it's not on the calendar because we didn't have dates for it yet. But
okay. So let's do the let's have the all thing maybe start on the 23rd and go up through the 30th, or I guess that would be the first. 23rd to the 1st. Can you get that in the calendar?
Yep, I'm doing it right now. 23 to the 1st, and I'll get Frozen Odyssey on there as well.
That gives us a little bit more time in case something else needs to be added to the all thing. Start thinking about it now if there's stuff that you guys want to put on there. We only get one more all thing after that. So we get two more all things, guys. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I'm sorry. It's been a long day. We haven't had a May all thing yet. Do we have that one scheduled either?
It doesn't look like it. We must have just had April on there.
All right. So let's see, ending the 27th. So 19th to the 27th of May. Well, that's not enough time to. Well, yeah, that's enough time. Right now, there's nothing on the agenda, but go ahead and put it up. It'll be the 19th through the 27th. So we have up until the 19th to add something to the all things. So if there's anything that comes up between now and then, we can consider it. Otherwise, we have June and then one in July. Since we're talking about it, Josh, let's go ahead and schedule a July one too. Let's see. 14th is Crown Qualls. 21st will be Clan. So we'll do the 21st through the 29th of July. You got that?
Yep, I'm just going in and backfilling the June one now.
Perfect. Okay. So if there's nothing for the, I think I'm going to rewrite that as the May all thing. Something comes up, let us know. All right, so the next item, State Fair. We're like way behind on registering for the State Fair. I would have to contact them by tomorrow to give them an answer as to whether or not we want to be at the State Fair. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
When you say State Fair, do you mean the Fairbanks?
Well, let's take a break here. Take a second. Puppet, you were first.
When you say State Fair, are you referring to both of them?
No, just the big one, the one in Palmer.
Okay. You kind of cut out the one in Palmer.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So the council needs to vote on whether or not we want to actually do that event. So at this time, the floor is just open for discussion. So Blue, you had a comment?
Is there any reason we wouldn't want to do the State Fair?
The cost is really high. That would be a factor. The other factor is it requires a lot to staff it. Those are probably the biggest I don't know, cons to the event. Pros are that we get like, a ton of visibility, and we get to sell swords and kind of continue to get our name out there. I know last year was a bit of a challenge as far as getting staffing needs met and selling swords, but I mean, we didn't lose money last year, so.
What about like a trend? Has there been a trend as to how much money we make? Has the amount of money made or the amount of profit made been steadily declining, or is it kind of level? Or
I honestly don't have that information at my fingertips here. We don't traditionally make a lot of money as far as profit goes at the state fair. Most of the benefits have been in just making, getting the visibility that the state fair offers us, because a ton of people walk by. So, but the cost is I don't know, between it's about, I think, $3,000. And that would be a pretty lean event. I think it costs us, most of that is just having a booth there. It's like, I want to say $2,400, give or take.
Yeah, just looking at last year, it seems like our expenses for that were around $2,600 and our income was around $3,600.
Yeah, that's about right. So that's something to consider. Yeah, I mean, this would be our fourth year at the fair. So, people are one of the things to think about is that people they're used to us being there now. So that's a positive thing, and that they'd be looking for us. We generally make, I don't know, $1,000 to $2,000 in profit. The $2,000 is probably a little generous. Over the 10 days that we have to staff the booth, and we're required to staff it the whole time. So that's probably the most challenging part.
Of like work schedules and stuff like that.
Well, it's I mean, during the week, I think it's like 10 a.m. to, I don't know, 8 p.m. or something like that. So yeah, so it's a bit challenging getting people out there, particularly during the work days. But that doesn't mean we can't do it.
As long as it's turning a profit, I mean, it's definitely something I think we should be doing. Just for the simple fact that if we don't take up our normal spots and it goes to someone else, it's going to be more difficult to get back into the fair in the future, potentially. So, I mean, as long as it's paying for itself, it's making us some profits. I think it would be more of a risk not to do it than to take those resources and try and move them somewhere else.
Right, that's fair. Anybody else have any thoughts?
I think it's a good idea to do it. As much work as it is, with as little as we see coming back. This is always, we can do it again this year, and if we decide next year is no good for us, they're letting us store the stuff there. I don't know if that's costing us any money, but having that storage option available and continuing that relationship is beneficial in the meantime. As as much work as it is, we don't see a lot of money, but they're letting us store our stuff there, so I am for it.
Okay.
So is the question I'm trying to ask myself is, this $1,000 profit and this extra visibility and recruitment potential on one side of the scale, and on the other side of the scale is the amount of stress, work, blood, sweat, and tears that our members end up having to front for that. And I'm trying to balance those, and I'm just wondering, is it worth it to our members for us to have that $1,000 and get a few new members. And
So
I'd be interested.
I want to chime in.
I don't
really
know.
quick. I think.
Oh, sorry. I'd be interested. I don't know if this is something we should do prior to State Fair this year or after State Fair this year, but I'd like to see a trend of like the participation in our fighting booth over the years and the amount of money we've made over the years to see if it's something that people are staying interested in or losing interest in. And I think that would be very valuable information to deciding whether or not it's something we want to do in the future. This year, I don't see any reason we shouldn't, unless it's going to be too much for our members, which I don't think it will be.
I have no doubt in my mind that we can get it done. One thing I would say, we should really look into like membership driving while we're doing it. Yeah, it's State Fair is kind of an awkward spot for us because all kinds of people rolling through, and some people are just like, hey, I want to hit somebody with a stick, and other people are like, hey, I'm genuinely interested in that. One big thing that if we do go through with this, we should look into some kind of means to really push what we do and where we do it and how you can get involved even more, more than just word of mouth. If we can get a small monitor in there with video of what we do and what AmGuard is, that might make doing this quite a bit more lucrative in the future.
Are you volunteering to run it, Hunter?
I've got enough to run, and I'm also getting married, so I'm going to have to back off from this one.
All right. Well, before we do that, does anybody have any other comments? Otherwise, I'm going to call for a vote on whether or not we want to have this event this year.
Yeah, just if I could pop in.
Yep, please.
So with running a few events just through like the business and such, one thing I was kind of like noodling around with, and I'd love to hear everybody else's thoughts on it, was maybe adjusting what we sell. Maybe not focusing so much on swords, but I mean, we got a whole bunch of crafty people. I'm sure that we could spend about the same amount of money and do like anything from jewelry or other things. Just widen out what we sell to try and cater to more than just the folks that we've been getting in the past. Definitely still have the fighting booth. Definitely have the swords. Just like move into some other stuff that we can sell, so that we can still make sales off the people that no matter what we do, we'll never see at a park day.
We have to be really careful with how we do that, and I'll start a conversation in the Facebook page about that, but it does impact the way our taxes and stuff are done. We have to be careful raising money in ways that aren't directly related to our organization's purpose. As well as the fair is very specific about what you're selling, and they have to authorize all of it because they try to limit competition and things like that. So that might be a really great topic of conversation for the future. I don't know. We might have time to play with that a little bit though for this, because we've got several months before the fair. So, but those are all good points. Okay, so let's go ahead and call for a vote on whether or not we want to have this event this year. That's the State Fair in Palmer in late August, September timeframe. So Astro wins.
Yes.
Okay, Ravenstone.
Yes.
Lupa Moon.
Yay.
Frozen Coast.
Yes.
Okay. The council has spoken, and we will have that event. I will contact them first thing in the morning and get that ball rolling. Let's see. All right. Anything else on that topic before we move on? All right. Clan travel coordination. Blue, you said you wanted this on the agenda, so I'll let you go first.
So
I actually said
the thing I was kind of wanting to talk about was So like previous years, when clan was coming up, I don't know if it was an organization of the council or just really enthusiastic members, but there was always one person. I think last year was Hadeland. I'm not entirely sure who it was the year before that, but there was one person that kind of spearheaded getting everyone organized for clan, telling everyone when to show up, where to be, getting the cabins organized, things like that. And I just noticed I hadn't seen that yet this year. I know I've heard a lot of interest in people going to clan, and I think it's important that we get that structured so that we don't have everyone trying to like panicking at the last minute, not knowing where to be or
Sure.
which cabins are, things like that.
We've always had someone just sort of step up and do it. Do you have somebody you think would be good for that?
I was thinking about it a little bit over the past couple of weeks. Between all the people I've heard who are excited about going, and pretty much the thought I came up with was, I know Minnie's been there. I want to say 3 times, maybe it was only twice. I'm not sure, but I know he's been there before. I know he's currently the Kingdom Regent. So personally, I thought if he was willing to, I don't want to make him, but if he was willing to, I thought he would be a good candidate for leading that up, since no one else has stepped up to the plate.
Many bars, that's something you're interested in doing?
Quickly running out of time.
Yeah, no, I can definitely do that. I'll get some posts put together to at least, at a minimum, gather who all is interested in going and seeing how structured it needs to be. I mean, if we've got a bunch of people that have done this before, then we probably don't need a whole lot of like logistics and prep. But I'll get the ball rolling on that.
Anybody on the council opposed to that? Very well, Mini Bard. Go forth with our blessing. Lead the people to the promised land. All right. Anything else for the clan travel? Anybody have any discussion topic issues with that? All right. Moving along then. Kingdom Crown qualification. So Crown Quals. Puppet, are you running for office again next term?
I hope not. Maybe.
Okay. So the way that because I know this is your first term as Monarch, the way Crown Quals works is it's overseen by the highest ranking officer that's not running for another office. So if you are running for office, then that would put your regent in charge. So so you need to start preparing for Crown Quals now. And if you would end up deciding to run for office, you need to be prepared to hand that off to whoever the highest ranking person is. Okay.
Okay. I didn't plan on running a second time. My job takes me all over Alaska, and it was just it was sheer luck that I was able to get one in Fairbanks.
Okay. And Mini Bard can probably help you out with that. Mini Bard, are you running for office?
To at this point, no.
Okay. Gideon, are you running for office again?
Yes.
Okay. Is your regent running for office?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Is your champion running for office?
I believe he is considering, but I haven't. I'm not 100% sure yet.
Okay. So I need you to start prepping your officers, your top 5 for Crown Quals. Okay.
Yep, can do.
All right. Lupin Moon, I know you're not running for office, but since Kingdom Crown Quals will be hosted in Lupin Moon, it doesn't matter. I'll be running that.
Yeah, I can run that.
No, you can't. That's what I just said.
Oh, sorry.
I'll be running it. Frozen Coast Blue. Blue, you're hitting term limits. Are you running for a non-Monarch office?
Currently, I'm planning to run for Kingdom GMR, so unless my plans change, I can run my local crown calls.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's okay. So everybody kind of has an idea. Mini Bard, that was mostly for you. Those are the people that are going to be in charge of crown quals. If you want to help coordinate and or assist those parties, maybe even starting a little crown quals prep group might be helpful. And I will join with that and see if we can get everybody up and running and up to speed so that we can have some nice consistent crown quals across the kingdom.
Sounds good.
Anybody have anything additional for Kingdom Crown Quals?
Well, we got a chance. Wanted to get some clarification on something. I'm not sure if I'm missing it in the admin manual or just reading it wrong. But something we noticed a while back was under the officers section here, the regional monarch no longer has a term limit listed. The only office that does is the regional regents. We were just wondering if that was just a blip that got missed on either side, or what the official word was on that.
That's a really great question. Hold, let me pull it up real quick.
We have monarch on page 8. It doesn't list anything. There's regional regents over on page 10. There's bullet points, one of which is a term limit.
I personally believe that is an oversight, which, given the implications of it either way, we should probably correct that through an all thing. I know I have some personal opinions on it. I know that wasn't intentionally taken out, but it's in there and voted in the way it is, so that's cool. I think we're probably, I don't know, I don't think we need term limits, but we could probably discuss that and bring it up at the maybe the June all things. We don't have anybody that's currently facing term limits that this would affect for this election, right? Or do we?
I remember thinking about this issue, and I'm not 100% certain, but I think it was actually something in the bylaws about being about the regional executive officers having a term limit.
Hold on, and that may
so I think that might be.
Yeah. You're smart. Sorry, guys, give me 2 seconds to track that up here real quick. Yes, and that's where it is. It's actually in the bylaws. Gideon.
Awesome.
It's in Article 3, Section 1.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, everything makes sense now.
And yeah, and so that was left out of the admin manual, which we could put it in there for clarity's sake. It just redundant information, I think, was the idea. So the term limits are in there. It's just anything that deals with people who are board officers goes in the bylaws. All right. Anything else for crown quals or like election type stuff? Okay. Moving on to permanent storage solution. Hunter, did you get that information you were going to research?
That was a big negative. Not
Okay.
the I didn't get the information. The information is a negative. That's not going to happen.
Okay. I think that what we really need to do is, I think we need to start sort of, this is maybe a bit of a brainstorm, and this isn't like asking to spend money, but the council needs to decide what would be a reasonable budget for a storage solution, and then we need to figure out what options we have that fall within that quote unquote reasonable budget. And I'd like to try and have this resolved for the June all thing, if there's an all thing, if we need an all thing to make it happen. So any thoughts on that?
We got to do something. So let's just get a think tank going.
Okay, let's talk about it on the Facebook page then. We need to figure out how much money do we want to consider spending, and then maybe bring that to the all thing if necessary. Okay, the Crown Qualls Committee, we briefly discussed online. We said we were going to move that discussion online. Is the council ready to make a decision on that?
Yes.
Or is there anybody in the council that's not ready to make a decision on that? Okay. Then let's see. We have in the running right now, we have like 6 people who volunteered for the position of chairperson. Those people are Astriana, Rosedath, Red, Jinx, Corin, and Blue. Is that correct? Does that jive with everybody? All right. So I would like each, I guess, does anybody want to nominate one of those 6 people?
Rosedath.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll second that for Rosedath.
All right.
I like Astriana.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Okay, so it looks like we have 2 candidates. Great job in narrowing the field so quickly. So now we are going to, unless anybody has anything they'd like to discuss before we move to a vote. Does anybody have anything they would like to discuss? Okay, then we shall move to a vote. So the vote is between Astriana and Rosedath to chair this committee for us. And keep in mind that this committee will very likely extend into the next Council of Crowns, depending on how quickly they complete their work. So, Astra wins.
I vote for Astriana.
Okay. Ravenstone.
1 for Rosedath.
Lupin Moon.
Rosedath.
Frozen Coast.
I'm super torn at the moment. I'm having a hard time deciding between the 2. They're both great candidates.
Well, hopefully, no matter how we vote, they'll both be on the committee. We just need one person to chair it.
I'm gonna vote for Astriana.
Okay. So that results in a tie, which I need to break. Does the council have any objections to me contacting both of these people individually and discussing the matter with them before I break the tie?
Negative.
Negative.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Not at all.
Then with the council's blessing, I will contact each of these individuals. I will kind of see what they've got in mind and sort of weigh that and then make the decision. So, all right. Taking a step forward on that. Great. Thank you, everybody. Next item. Autocrat update. So Solstice War. Pup, is there anything we need to know about Solstice War, which is in just a couple weeks?
I have spent $700 of the budget. The remaining is $800. We gain access to the field on the 5th. We're going to start mowing and prepping the field, and then we'll start acquiring tents, picnic tables, and everything else we need to make the 3 days a blast.
Awesome. So you guys are all set then?
We've had a lot of headaches, but yes, we're well on our way.
Okay. Anybody on the council have anything for Puppet in regards to Solstice War? All right. We are very excited, and we
A
are
special thank you to Joshua Watts for gaining the site.
special thank you to who?
Minibard for acquiring the site for me.
All right.
That was my biggest.
Great job, man. Yeah, we're all super excited, and we're ready to come up and hang out with Astro Winds. We don't get to do that very often, so this is the time. It's going to be a great time. Ren Fair is trucking right along. There was a little bit of a hiccup in there, but Kraken got it all worked out, and we should be all good to go. He should be working with Hunter on sword sales and stuff. So, Hunter, if you haven't heard much from Kraken, make sure you get with him.
No problem.
You guys are coordinating that stuff. Any updates for us on Wolf's Cry?
So there's a little bit of a confusion. I emailed the all the paperwork for the insurance and the site fees and stuff to Mara so she could pay for all that. She thought it was for State Fair, so she kind of blew it off a little bit because she wasn't sure what we were doing yet. So I emailed to her. She says she's going to take care of it today. And as soon as I get official clarification, I will be publishing the event. I'm planning on doing probably a couple weeks of kind of Northreach exclusive advertisement for that. People get their spaces and whatnot, and then I'm going to start actually advertising all over, all the kingdoms that I can get my hands on. So see if we can get some people from the States too. So
I want to get that global advertising out as soon as possible. So whatever we can do to make that happen quickly, that's definitely on my agenda. I want to give those folks as much time as possible to arrange travel.
not a problem.
Okay. So is there anything you need from the council for the event?
Not that I can think of. I've still gotten probably be coming to you guys in on our Facebook page regarding Foodocrat. I've gotten a lot of people that are like, "Hey, I want to do that," and I'm not really sure which way to go with that. So just get input from you guys and whatnot. But once again, all this stuff will blast off as soon as I get the go ahead that yes, we have the site and everything's paid for and we're up to date. And should be ready to rock and roll.
Perfect. I look forward to hearing. We should get some on that this week, right?
Hopefully, I'll like I said, I've been busy all day. I didn't make it home till about 2 o'clock yesterday because we were working on swords.
Gotcha.
And so I'll get with Mara. I've been sleeping and busy all day with Mother's Day stuff. So I'll as soon as we're done here, I'll shoot Mara a message.
Okay. Yeah, Sherry should be in the office tomorrow morning. So the State Fair lady, get with her and make sure we got our site squared away. It should be booked already. There shouldn't be any issues there. We just need to formalize the contract and stuff. So. Okay, moving on to regional concerns. Astro Winds, you guys got anything that the council needs to discuss?
No. We're having a little rocky start with Galactic Conquest, but we're powering through it and we're learning as we go. And it's been. I made the mistake of having PvP fights, and I realize now I should be having PvE fights, and so it'll get a lot better. There's no more of this destroying everyone and making powerful players, and just
Well, there's lots of summer
lots of
left.
anger.
You guys got
So,
play around with it. It'll be fun. All right. Ravenstone, you guys got anything for the council?
The only thing I have is an invite for everybody to come out to Mid-Rain next Sunday.
Sweet.
I'm
Luke
excited.
Moon, you got anything? You got anything for the council?
Possibly. I don't know if there was a budget set aside for the newbie barbecue at all. I'd have to look that up. I can't remember off the top of my head. I was considering a couple years ago, Goran, when you did, I think it was the newbie barbecue you did it at that spot over on Elmore with the grill and the big awning and whatnot.
That wasn't newbie barbecue. That was Mid-Rain.
Oh, that was Mid-Rain? Okay. Well, I was maybe that wouldn't be a worthwhile spot for a newbie barbecue. I was just wondering how much that cost off the top of your head.
I think it was a couple $100.
Couple $100. Okay.
It wasn't expensive.
It'd be cool if we could have that spot again. I think it's a good spot. It's not quite so central, but we do have access to that grill and everything's covered and this, that, and the other. But
that's Anchorage Parks and Rec.
All right.
In charge of that. So, and there is a budget for newbie barbecue. Not specifically for newbie barbecue, but that falls under operations. I can pull it up here. Give me just a moment.
I'll also be bouncing some ideas for a cool bribe the reeve off you guys. Something that's probably been talked about, but everybody blows it off because that's stupid. Now I think I have some ideas on how to make a cool bribe the reeve day work without unbalancing the game too much. So I'll be getting at you guys about that too.
All right. So let's see. So if you need money for newbie barbecue, that would fall under the miscellaneous/new events category. Basically, all the smaller events kind of got lumped in there. I don't think we've touched that budget line item for anything, so there's some money in there if you guys need it.
All right, I will.
Just let me know.
As soon as I know exactly what I need, I'll let you guys know, and then we'll get that handled.
Okay. I mean, traditionally, it's we've been able to do it for a few $100 at most. It's not a very expensive event. But if you have like big ideas, just let me know. All right. Frozen Coast.
No regional concerns, but I do have somewhat of a miscellaneous inquiry that I think might fit in well in this spot. And reading the budget, noticed there's a $500 line item for advertising. And I was just curious if we have plans or if we're open to suggestions on what advertising we could do to spend that $500, because it's weird where it's like it's enough money that you could actually do some really cool things. I'm interested if there was already plans for it or we can come up with.
Not really. We haven't come up with any plans for it. I mean, worst case scenario, as we go into some of these bigger events or even the smaller events, we can use that to supplement like the printing of flyers or business cards and things like that. But we can also look at like radio spots or whatever kind of advertising we want. So if you have any good ideas, or if you see any ways you think we could get a lot of advertising bang for our buck, then let us know.
Radio time's expensive, just to put that out there.
Yeah.
But it is one cool thing we could potentially do with that for like our fighting arenas at Rent Fair and State Fair and stuff. So if we had a infographic-esque thing with our name printed all over it with this is how the rules of play work, basic, take 2 arms, you're dead, headshots don't count, stuff like that.
Oh, you should make some of those.
Yeah, it's actually something that I was looking at doing. It just I'm not an artist by any means.
I'm going to train you to stop bringing up good ideas.
Don't do that, Goran. You'll never get any more of my good ideas.
I'm just kidding. But no, that'd be a great idea, and that's absolutely like that. Those sorts of things could go in the advertising budget. They could also go into the event budget if there's something we can use at that event. So But those are cool. Like we've done some things like that before, not to the scale that you're talking about or to the specificity, but I think that's a really good idea. If we had combat rules printed out, like just very basic, mechanics and things like that, let's do it.
Yep. Any kind of asset that's reusable is a good asset to have.
Yep. As soon as we find a place to store it.
So one of the things that brought up to me, and I've done zero research into it, so I don't actually know if it's how much it would cost or how practical it is. But the idea of a lot of movie theaters do local ads before they show big movies, and there's a surprising amount of people that will show up to their movies super early to watch these local ads. And I was wondering if that's something that, at the very least, was worth looking into.
Of course, it's worth looking into. It doesn't cost us anything to make a phone call.
Yeah, especially some of the smaller theaters, I think you'd probably be able to do that for, cheap enough that we could afford it.
Sure. No, by all means. If you want to make a phone call, if anybody wants to check into that, go for it. That would be cool.
And then we just need to find someone who's good with a video camera.
Right.
I would suggest if hit up Mickey Bard on Facebook. She, as a marketing person, has done research into a lot of those different marketing delivery methods, so she could give you a good idea of whether they tend to be cost effective, and if so, how to do them that way, and so on and so forth.
All I heard you say is that Mickey was willing to direct our commercial.
I mean, she did get nominated for an Emmy for a commercial she did for another organization, so...
Okay, maybe we can get her the Emmy with the Amp Guard advertisement.
That's right.
That'd be awesome.
That might be worth sitting down and chatting with her about, Minnie Bard. What with public outreach and everything falling under your umbrella.
I'll have to see if I can pencil a conversation with her into my busy schedule.
That's fair. All right. Does anybody else have anything for the COC meeting?
I'm sorry I'm late, guys, but I'm here now if you wanted to talk about Northreach Champion stuff.
Yeah, let's swing back around to the Kingdom Champions report. Go, Lucian.
Yeah, so hi, everyone. Sorry for the delay. The Council of War has been working with the Reeves Council, which I'm sure you heard about, for the mid-range tournaments and whatnot, and implementing the lightsaber tournament. And I know Frozen Coast didn't, Loop and Moon did. I'm not sure other parks that have not, or are going to do blaster tournaments. But we've definitely got some Star Wars themed tournaments happening, or have happened. I think we just reached kind of a consensus about what the prizes for those are going to be. Because I'm not certain, I'm not going to commit to anything and tell you what that is right at the moment. But once I'm sure we have an idea, I will kick that over to the COC. Otherwise, yeah, we're just still working on the Northreach Rain theme and coordinating with autocrats of upcoming events like Solstice War and Frozen Odyssey and what have you. I know normally this is the section where you guys ask me questions, but I actually have a question for you. The new member barbecue, Gordon, I know we talked about this for 2 minutes at Loop and Moon's mid-rain. You said you wanted to run more like a demo. Should I plan battle games for that, or did you have something different in mind?
No. What I said was that the battle game should be run sort of, in the idea that they're demoing Amped Guard. So it's not like a presentation, but the battle games should be such that they introduce easily a new player to Amped Guard and get them into the action in a manner that's as least confusing as possible. So, for example, the last time I ran Newbie Barbecue as Kingdom Champion, I ran a series of, I want to say 4 or 5 battle games, and every battle game introduced new rules. So the very first battle game used only ditch rules. It's like a ditch meat grinder kind of. The next one was a militia. So we introduced armor, and before that battle game, we explained how armor worked, and we added armor and projectiles to the game. And after that, we did a class game. You know, so we sort of just slowly introduced things by doing more and more complicated games. So like the last 2 or 3 games were full class, and all the new players were totally into it. They understood everything. They weren't super confused. I also buddied them up with, you know, experienced players, that sort of thing. But newbie barbecue,
Okay,
the whole point of that day is to make sure the new players are being onboarded, essentially.
Right, and that's what you just described is almost exactly what I had in mind. I just wanted, I guess, something you said I didn't hear correctly, and so I got an impression that you wanted something different. So I was just clarifying.
No,
But
you're on
that's
the right
pretty
page.
much it. All right, good deal. That was my plan.
Cool. Anybody have any questions or comments for the Kingdom Champion? All right. Unless there is anything else, we can go ahead and close the meeting right at 9 o'clock. Man, we are good. Anything else?